Tippy time my damies, Top Cat here and welcome back to the channel. With our Grandmaster Nightfalls having that Stasis surge this season, I wanted an OG Ice Lock that could stun all, tank all and drop all. Being that we had that heavy Stasis artifact, I had expected this build to play right off the bat, but it wasn't until patch 8.1.5 that its utility strength was applicable. The Shapebinder super was always designed to be a major killer, not a boss damage super, but since its inception, it's been a constant disappointment. At base, it's got 6 stacks, each doing roughly 57,000 damage. The problem was though, the second we got into that harder content, we ended up wasting our entire super on a couple of orange bars. So Bungo created the Ballidorse Wrathweavers exotic gauntlets. These did buff our super damage by 100%. This got buffed this week, increasing our super's damage by 150%. It is now significantly stronger. I feel like I can easily take on champions at Grandmaster level, those chunky mini bosses, and all those banes that Bungo is just throwing at us these days. Hell, even if it's just a couple of orange bars, I'll just pop it, as we've now got 3 times that super regeneration cooldown on our roamers. We're going to be running that Whisper of Fish's fragments. This will boost our shatter damage and shatter radius. Ballidorse has great team synergy, as allies in range of our Winter's Wrath Shockwave and our Frost Pulses will gain stacks of Frost Armor. These will also help our super regeneration, as whenever we do give our allies buffs, it's going to grant us super energy in return. With our Healing Rift, we're going to be using this 2 different ways. When we plop it down, it's going to give us a ×2 weapon surge. I'm running ×2 dynamo mods on my helmet. These guys just give us bonus super energy when we plant our rift down next to enemies. Running 2 of these will give us a 4% bonus, but as our Warlock has a different scale compared to our Titans and our Hunters, it's actually not 4%, it's an 8% super bonus. Now we'll be running that Frost Pulse aspect to freeze all our foes in a 15-meter radius whenever we plant down that rift. This will allow us to maximize both the Ballidorse's inherent super regeneration and that Dynamo super regeneration. Now our supers and our rifts are all about that freeze game, so I want my arsenal to take care of that slow/overload game. I've been running the Wicked Implement exotic scout rifle. It's Stasis, so it's going to work well with our rifts. It's got that great intrinsic trait, creeping attrition. When rapidly landing precision hits, we cause targets to become slowed. When creeping attrition is active, when we destroy stasis crystals, or by simply landing precision final blows, we create a stasis shard. Importantly as well, these shards are going to track towards us, and when we collect them, they're going to refill our magazine. The catalyst then goes and dials it up again, as when we collect these, this will allow us to overflow that magazine, and it's got headstone to give us those juicy crystals for even more AoE. We've got that windshield perk in the artifact. With rapid stasis precision hits, we are granted stacks of frost armor. With the thick of it, we're always going to have that frost armor, so Armor of Eramis is going to give us that freezing burst if we ever get our balls in the vice to snap freeze any enemies trying to abuse us. The Wicked Implement worked great against our Fallen and Taken Overload champs, but if I needed to take on something like a Vex Minotaur, their crits are shithouse, so I'll probably go for something more like the Alethianum Exotic GL. Much like the Fighting Lion, it runs on primary ammo, so it's actually really good in GMs, doing sizable damage at a reasonable cost. We don't need to run any loader mods on it, as in the artifact we got one with Frost. Whilst we have Frost armor active, our stasis weapons gain increased reload speed and stability. I've got rapid impacts. Dealing damage with a grenade launcher temporarily increases our reload speed of our grenade launchers, and then with concussive reload, we're going to use that to debuff with weaken, and of course we've got the overload GL to overload. Now no doubt we're using Glacial Harvest. This is one of the best aspects across all classes, as just by freezing targets, we create stasis shards around the frozen target. At base, this makes 3 shards, but the higher the combatant, the more shards we can create. And with every shard we collect, that's another stack of frost armor. DR is absolute king in any type of Grandmaster build, and this Ballidorse kit has it on tap. We're running Whisper of Refraction, so when defeating slowed or frozen targets, we're granted class ability Energy. This feeds us different amounts of energy based off the strength of the target. The lowest amount of energy it can give us is 9%, ramping up to 40%. If you manage to kill the right bunch of ads, you can have your Rift back in under 2 seconds. We've got Serve Cold in the artifact. This is going to grant us melee energy and class ability energy off of our shard pickups. We've got Whisper of Rime, so our Frost Armor has an increased duration and maximum stat count. Our Frost Armor timer goes from 10 seconds to 13 seconds, and our stacks go from 5 to 8, giving us a 36% damage resist. Whisper of Conduction is going to suck up all those shards to us. The Wicked Implement has its own range set for its shards, but all other shards that we create will suck towards us within a 15-meter radius. I've got an Elemental Charge mod on my kicks, so every time we pick up one of these shards, we become charged with light. I'm running one Stasis Surge mod. We pretty much always have a surge going on. This will really help out that 180 RPM implement. Generally, we would plant our Rift down on a corner, pat 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 with our Scout Rifle, whilst having that initial 17% surge bonus. In our Rift, we get the kill, we create a shard, it gets sucked towards us, and then we can continue with that further 10% surge. I'm going to be running the emergency reinforcement mod on my chest piece. This is going to give us another 10% damage resist if we ever get our shields broke. It's actually worth using again, even though it's just 10%. As we got that emergency flare in the artifact, this will consume all of our charges except one, leaving us with a little bit of surge, so we're still able to fight off our attackers. Now obviously we're running the penumbral melee, it's our only option, but I did find this kit worked really well with the cold snap. It's a quick insta panic grenade, which is really good in close quarters. We're running a traditional gauntlet mod circle jerk. We got focusing strike, granting us class ability energy when we cause damage with a powered melee. Impact induction grants us grenade cooldown when we cause damage with our melees. And with bolstering detonation, we're going to get further ripped energy when we cause grenade damage. This is going to give us several options when we're getting pushed by multiple foes. So whether it's a rift, or a grenade, or a melee, we're freezing, we're getting free DR, we're pausing them, battling them off. Now feel free to pause here for all my mods, artifacts and fragments, but there will be a dim link in the description down below. I'm currently running my mate Mr. 49 Recovery through his first Conqueror seal, so I wanted a kit that could clutch up, tank all, and delete everything from orange bars to bosses. The thing I really liked about this kit is it'll suit both noobs and godslayers alike. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of this Shadebinder? Is it finally a legitimate PvE super? Make sure to thumb it if you dug it, sub if you're new, and as always, tippy tie my damies, what a tie.